Imagine a place on Earth where the sun has never risen. A place where the air you breathe is not a source of life, but a slow-acting poison. For over 5 million years, while the ancestors of humanity were first learning to walk upright, a secret world lay hidden beneath the dusty plains of Romania. It was a world that didn't need us. It didn't need the sun. It didn't even need oxygen. This is the story of the Movile Cave, a biological fortress that was accidentally breached, revealing a terrifying truth about how resilient life can be when it is pushed to the absolute edge of existence. The year was 1986, the location the Dobruja region near the shores of the Black Sea. This part of Romania is a barren, karst landscape, characterized by dry limestone and harsh winds. At the time, the nation was under the grip of a cold industrial expansion. Workers were surveying the land, scouting for a massive new power plant project. Geologists began a routine drilling operation, sinking a narrow steel shaft deep into the limestone crust. But at 20 meters down, the drill didn't hit groundwater or solid bedrock. It hit a vacuum. There was a strange, audible hiss, the sound of pressure equalizing between two worlds that had been separated since the Pliocene epoch. The workers had inadvertently punctured a time capsule that had been airtight for 5.5 million years. When the first researchers arrived, they were met with a wall of smell that stopped them in their tracks. It was the scent of concentrated hydrogen sulfide, the smell of rotten eggs, signaling a chemistry that shouldn't exist this close to the surface. Scientist Cristian Lascu was among the first to descend. To enter, he had to be lowered down the narrow shaft, squeezed through a limestone needle's eye, and crawl through tunnels so cramped that a single panic attack could be fatal. As he reached the lower chambers, his headlamp cut through a thick yellow haze. The air felt heavy, like a physical weight on the lungs. His oxygen sensors began to scream. On the surface, we rely on 21% oxygen. Here, it had plummeted to near lethal levels. Carbon dioxide levels were 10 times higher than the world above. Lascu and his team expected to find a dead, sterile cavern. In a place with no light, no plants, and toxic air, the laws of biology dictate that life should be impossible. Instead, what they saw clinging to the walls and skittering across the sulfuric pools defied everything they knew. They saw translucent insects with spindly, oversized limbs. They saw eyeless spiders weaving webs in the pitch black. They saw creatures that looked like they had been designed by a science fiction illustrator, yet they were pulsing with a strange, frantic energy. In that first expedition, they identified 33 species that were completely new to science, species that existed in this 1,000 square meter cave and nowhere else on the entire planet. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. How could a complex ecosystem survive without a single ray of sunlight? How could these animals breathe air that would kill a human in minutes? To find the answer, we have to look past the animals and into the very water itself. We have to understand a dark chemical engine that has been humming away in the silence for millions of years. We are going deeper into the engine of poison. On the surface of our planet, life is a solar-powered machine. From the tallest redwood to the smallest blade of grass, every living thing is a solar panel, capturing photons to turn carbon dioxide and water into sugar. This is photosynthesis, the fundamental heartbeat of Earth. But at the bottom of the Movile Cave, the sun has been dead for 5 million years. There are no plants here, no seeds can germinate, no light can reach. In any other cave, life depends on subsidies from the surface: bat guano, washed-in leaves, or dead animals. But Movile is sealed by a thick layer of impermeable clay. Nothing falls in. So how does an entire world stay powered? The answer lies not in the sky above, but in the boiling pressure of the earth below. Deep beneath the cave floor, thermal springs surge upward, carrying a cocktail of chemicals that would be lethal to most life. The water is rich in methane and hydrogen sulfide, the same toxic gas found in volcanic eruptions. In the pitch black, a different kind of miracle occurs: chemosynthesis. On the surface of the cave's subterranean lake, a thick, velvety white film forms. To the naked eye, it looks like a stagnant pond. But under a microscope, it is a bustling metropolis of autotrophic bacteria. These organisms don't need light, they eat the sulfur. By oxidizing hydrogen sulfide, they harvest the chemical energy required to turn inorganic carbon into organic matter.
This white ooze is the grass of Movile. It is the foundation of an alien food chain.
It is proof that life doesn't need a star to survive, it only needs a chemical imbalance. The presence of these gases creates an atmosphere that is a biological nightmare. If you were to remove your mask in the lower chambers of Movile, the high concentration of carbon dioxide would immediately begin to acidify your blood. The methane would replace the oxygen in your brain. Yet, for the bacteria and the creatures that graze upon them, this toxic haze is a feast. The cave acts as a giant lung, slowly exhaling methane and inhaling the tiny amounts of oxygen that diffuse through the rock. It is a delicate, high-pressure equilibrium that has remained unchanged since before the first human ancestors carved their first tools. DNA testing of these bacteria has revealed a startling truth. Many of them are not related to the bacteria found in the soil above the cave. Instead, they share ancestors with the extremophiles found at the bottom of the ocean, thousands of miles away, near hydrothermal vents. This suggests that Movile is part of a deep biosphere, a hidden network of life that exists within the Earth's crust itself. A world that exists in the cracks and pores of the rock, waiting for a breach like the one in 1986 to show itself. But if the grass of this world is made of bacteria and poison, what kind of monsters have evolved to eat it? To find them, we must look closer at the hunters waiting in the dark. In the world above, eyes are the most valuable tools for survival. They allow us to find food, avoid predators, and navigate the landscape. But in the total crushing darkness of Movile Cave, eyes are a liability. Maintaining the complex neural machinery of sight requires a massive amount of energy, calories that are hard to come by in a world made of sulfur and stone. Over 5 million years, evolution has performed a ruthless audit of the bodies here. The result is a phenomenon known as Troglobitism. One by one, the inhabitants of Movile have discarded their eyes. They have shed their colors, becoming translucent and ghostly. They have traded the sense of sight for something far more sensitive. Crawling through the bacterial mats is a creature that looks like it was pulled from a nightmare. The Movile Pseudoscorpion. It possesses the massive, crushing claws of a scorpion, but it lacks the iconic stinging tail. Because it cannot see its prey, it has transformed its entire body into a sensory array. Every hair on its legs is a high-fidelity vibration sensor. It can feel the footsteps of a tiny springtail from inches away. When it strikes, it does so with a mechanical precision that no sighted predator could match. It doesn't need to see you to know exactly where your heart is. Suspended in the toxic haze above the water are the webs of the Movile spider. In the world of light, spiders use visual cues to build their webs. Here, the spiders use the airflow of the cave itself. These spiders are almost entirely translucent. You can see their internal organs pulsing through their shells. They wait in total stillness, detecting the minute changes in methane pressure that occur when an insect flies nearby. They are the silent sentinels of the void. living lives without ever knowing what their prey or their own bodies actually look like. But every ecosystem has an apex predator. A lion at the top of the food chain. In Movile, that king is the Cryptops Anomalous. This centipede grows to over 10 centimeters in length, a giant in this miniature world. It is the fastest, most aggressive inhabitant of the cave. While other creatures scavenge on the bacterial mats, the Cryptops hunts them. It is armed with powerful venom and a pair of modified legs that act like rear-facing antennae. It moves with a frantic, terrifying speed, zigzagging through the tunnels. It is a biological masterpiece of the dark, a creature that hasn't seen a predator or a rival in 5 million years, yet remains the most efficient killer in the abyss. There are 48 species currently identified in Movile, and 33 of them are found nowhere else on the planet. They exist in a perfect fragile harmony. There is no overpopulation here, no waste. But this harmony is built on a foundation of isolation. For millions of years, the seal kept the world out. Now that the seal is broken, the greatest threat to these creatures isn't a predator, it's us. Why does a small, toxic hole in the Romanian crust fascinate the world's most advanced space agencies? Because for NASA and the European Space Agency, Movile Cave isn't just a cave, it is an Earth analog. It is a laboratory for the search for life beyond our atmosphere. When we look at Mars, we see a frozen, radiation-blasted desert. But deep beneath that surface, sheltered from the sun and the cold, there may be liquid water and chemical energy. If life exists on the red planet, it won't look like us. It will look like the bacterial mats of Movile. It will be a world fueled by rock and gas, thriving in a place where we thought life was impossible. The implications go even further. On Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter, and Enceladus, the moon of Saturn, there are vast oceans hidden beneath miles of ice. These oceans are dark, they are under immense pressure, and they are likely rich in the same sulfuric chemicals we find at the bottom of the Movile Cave. Movile proves that life does not need a sun. It does not need a green planet. If the engine of poison can power a thriving ecosystem in a sealed cave in Romania, it can power a world in the dark oceans of the outer solar system. We are learning that the universe may not be a cold, dead void, but a vast, hidden network of Movile caves waiting to be discovered. But there is a somber truth to this discovery. For 5.5 million years, the seal of Movile Cave was its greatest protection. Now, that protection is gone. Each time a human enters, we bring oxygen, light, and surface microbes that the cave's inhabitants have no defense against. Even the simple act of breathing releases carbon dioxide that can alter the cave's delicate chemistry in hours. We have spent decades searching the stars for alien life, only to find it beneath our feet, and realized how easily we could destroy it just by looking at it. Movile Cave is a reminder that life is not a fragile accident. It is a relentless, aggressive force. It will colonize the dark. It will breathe the fire of the earth. And even when the sun finally fades, the aliens of the deep will likely still be there, scuttling through the silence, waiting for the next light to find them. I'm Johnny from WildFact Lab, and thank you for taking this journey into the dark.